The difference, and the main difference with Brent Venables in Oklahoma, is BV in Oklahoma is getting worse every single week. They're heading in the wrong direction. That's the problem. It's not so much about win or losing. It's about, okay, are we improving every single week? And Oklahoma is not. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all, and this should concern my OU fans. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Unfortunately for Oklahoma fans, we gotta talk about the Venables experiment that has completely failed. When it comes to some of the most fascinating topics outside the college football playoff, this has gotta be up there with the best of them. Wow, man, time flies. It feels like it was just yesterday, and I remember this so vividly when we were talking about Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler, and that entire situation going on with Oklahoma, and then out of nowhere, Lincoln Riley leaves. It feels like that was yesterday, but here we are, it's a year later, and Lincoln Riley, he's doing pretty well, and Oklahoma, yeah, they're not doing so well, and that's a nice way to put it. I can't believe it's been a year since all of that, and a lot has happened since then. I also remember telling all of you guys, man, I love this hire, Brent Venables. It's arguably one of the best hires in the offseason, and yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. I was going on and on and on. I was raving about how much I love Brent Venables, how much I thought it was a perfect fit, and all that nice stuff. If you watch the videos, you know what I'm talking about. And fast forward in time to our current date, as when I'm speaking, yeah, I was completely wrong, and it's done a complete 180. I can't even try to fathom how fast this went downhill. At the beginning of college football season, which was only a few weeks ago, after week 1 and week 2, I was talking about how, hey, Oklahoma, they're looking like a playoff team. I was saying, hey, maybe Oklahoma, they're not the best team in the country, but they're going to be in the mix of things late in the year. I mean, they were looking solid early on. Yeah, they had some bumps in the road against Kent State and UTEP, but in their third game of the year, they blew Nebraska out of the water, and that impressed me. Look, I get it, Nebraska, they flat out suck, and that's a nice way to put it, but it was an impressive win. They beat them soundly. OU was 3-0. They was ranked 6th in the country, heading into a matchup with Kansas State. And ever since that Kansas State game, it's been downhill ever since. I would also say that the Kansas State game, that was the start to a domino effect. I didn't think the K-State game was embarrassing because Oklahoma-Kansas State, it's always going to be close. It's what happened after that. Losing the way that Oklahoma did to TCU, and look, I get it. TCU, they're a really good team, but there is no excuse for what I saw on TV that day. The final score looks crazy itself. It was 55-24, but trust me, TCU could have hung 100 if they wanted to, and I'm not just saying that to say it, I mean it. It was bad, and that is a nice way to put it. May I remind some of y'all before I say this, I'm not an Oklahoma fan. I have nothing to do with that team or program, but watching that TCU game, I was embarrassed for the fans. Whether you want to put that on Brent Venables and the staff, I don't know, and I don't really care. But watching how those players played, it was beyond pitiful and more than embarrassing. It looked like they could care less to go out there and play. Like I said, pitiful is a good word to use. But hey, on the bright side, one of my old coaches told me this, and it always stuck with me. Whether you lose by 40 points or 1 point, it's the same thing. Although, yes, it was a bad loss. As bad as the loss was, it's only one. Oklahoma was sitting at 3-2, and the season wasn't over quite just yet, and they had their big anticipated matchup with Texas. Oh, I can't even say too much about it. You see the score. 49-0. I wish I could sit up here and try to say Texas is a really great team this year, and yeah, I can understand why they beat Oklahoma 49-0, but I can't do that. Texas ain't even all that great. My biggest takeaway from the game isn't that Texas is really good. It was that Oklahoma is really bad. Let me know in the comment section. I want to know, Oklahoma fans, what was your turning point? But after that Texas game, that's when I came to the conclusion that BV, aka Brent Venables, he's not the guy. I got a lot of backlash for that. A lot of you were saying, well, Matt, that's not fair. It's his first year. That's only his third loss. You got to give him some time. He's rebuilding. I see where you're coming from. You're entitled to your own opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. Here's my counter argument to that, and I really want you to hear me out. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or girl watching this. I'm sure most of us, 99.8% of us, we can relate to this. We've all met that one girl or guy. We've all been in a relationship, and it was good the first couple of days, but about a week or two goes by, and we're just like, I don't really think we fit well together. We've all been in a situation like that with somebody, and it sucks. It really does, because that guy or girl, they may be a good person, but you just know, hey, it's not going to work out. It's nothing personal against them. You just learned early on, hey, we're not meant to be, and that's okay. I can't speak for you. A lot of other people in this life, they are 2 times nicer than me, but for me, if I know me and a girl, we're not going to work out, I cut it off then and there. I don't waste time because I don't want to waste her time. That's me doing her a favor. And actually, people aren't even ready for this conversation. Whenever you're scared to hurt somebody's feelings and you're stringing them along, that's worse than just being harsh with them. And when I say being harsh, I mean giving them the cold, harsh truth that, hey, it's not working out, we're over. I think you know exactly where I'm about to go with this. Applying that analogy to this situation, it's how I feel with Oklahoma and BV. I get it. I know it's early on. I know I should probably give them more than just 1 year, give them more than 2 years at least, but it's not working out. You don't gotta be a rocket scientist to figure out that Brent Venables ain't that good of a coach. I've even tried arguing for Brent Venables in my videos. I brought up the Kirby Smart comparison, where Kirby Smart, for those of you that don't know, he went 8-5 in his first season at Georgia, and Nick Saban, the infamous one that everybody talks about, he went 7-6 at Alabama. The last time I even talked about Oklahoma and BV, it's been about a month ago, if not longer, so I've seen them play about 5 more times since. Here is my new assessment. Kirby Smart, for example, Nick Saban, yeah, they went 7-6, 8-5, but they were heading in the right direction. They were getting better every single week. The difference, and the main difference with Brent Venables in Oklahoma, is BV in Oklahoma is getting worse every single week. They're heading in the wrong direction. That's the problem. It's not so much about win or losing. It's about, okay, are we improving every single week? And Oklahoma is not. You're not getting better. And if anything, I legitimately think you're getting worse. I know this may shock some of y'all, but I've watched this West Virginia play almost every single game this year, and if you're wondering why I'm watching West Virginia, who was 3-6 before the OU game, it's because I like watching JT Daniels. Although JT hasn't played too well this year, that's a different conversation for a different day. Anyway, since I have watched West Virginia play a lot this year, I can confidently say that they flat out suck. Have they had some close games here and there? Yeah, maybe if the ball bounced one way or another, they would have 1 or 2 more wins, but for the most part, they've sucked, and we're going to leave it at that. It's the fact that Oklahoma, a team that has far more talent than West Virginia, can't even beat West Virginia? Yeah, that was the done deal for me. I'm like, all right, this experiment, it's over. And when I say it's over, I mean, yeah, you can mark it down as, okay, this experiment failed, on to the next one. I don't think some of y'all get it. Let me break this down for you. Oklahoma is 5-5. Those 5 wins have came against UTEP. They suck, not a Power 5 school. Kent State, they're not even a Power 5 school. Kansas, yeah, that was a good one. I'll give you that. Nebraska, they flat out suck. And last but not least, Iowa State, and they suck. Oklahoma only has 1 decent win this year, and it's Kansas. And even calling Kansas a decent win, I think that may be pushing it, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. On the flip side, let's take a look at their 5 losses. Does Kansas State have more talent than Oklahoma? No, it's not even close. Does TCU? No, not a single chance. Does Texas? Yeah, you could say Texas does. That's only 1. Oh, what about Baylor? Does Baylor have more talent than Oklahoma? No. West Virginia? No. And I get it. It's supposed to be a quote-unquote rebuilding year, but here's my problem. Here's the biggest dilemma with this. You're not rebuilding. I honestly hate how everybody's trying to act like whenever Brent Venables came in, he took over a program that was completely shredded. There was nobody left. Like, come on now. Are we really about to do this? Yes, I get it. Lincoln Riley, he took your quarterback, took a wide receiver, took some of the staff, but it's not like he took every single thing. He didn't take the entire house with him. He left the structure. You still had guys to compete and go what? 9-3 this year, 8-4, and that's being nice about it. Most Oklahoma fans expected to go 10-2 or 11-1 this year. Lincoln Riley didn't gut the program. He didn't take 8 starters on defense and 10 starters on offense. This team has talent. Whoa. Hold on. I just thought of the greatest comparison and the best example ever. This Oklahoma team is no different from LSU. And you can make a legit case and argument, and in my humble opinion, I think LSU was in a worse situation. They only had 40 scholarship players in the offseason. LSU and Oklahoma were in the same situation, had brand new head coaches, had a lot of guys leave. LSU only had 40 guys on scholarship, and LSU's in the top 10 playing for an SEC championship. You want to know the one key difference in LSU and Oklahoma? Coaching. One team has a really good coach. The other team doesn't. I don't want y'all to get me wrong. I like BV. I was the one saying it was a great hire, but I was wrong. I think we're seeing a prime example of a guy who's a really great defensive coordinator, but he's just not cut out to be a head coach at this current moment. Now, does failing at Oklahoma mean he's never going to be a great head coach in the future? Absolutely not. We've seen this with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin was laughed at and mocked for years and years, and now he's a respected figure in the head coaching industry. You can cut this up, chop it up, dice it up, however you want. The bottom line is, it's not a great fit. It's not working out, and it sucks because I like BV, but he's not the man for the job. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all, and this should concern my OU fans. Coming from an SEC fan, I'm a Bama fan, watching OU for the past 10, 15, 20 years, I was always scared to pick against them. They was just always one team that I was scared to pick against because I know they'd make me eat my words. They always played great. A good way to describe it is same thing with Nick Saban and Alabama. Even with Alabama and Saban having a down year, I can't pick against Alabama. It's almost like a cardinal sin. Picking against OU, it's felt the exact same way except for this year. For example, I see OU's playing Oklahoma State this week. I'm not even nervous to pick Oklahoma State because OU's been that bad. There's nothing to be scared about. I mean, why would I be scared? Give me a reason. You just lost to West Virginia, who was 3-6. I am extremely curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. Me personally, I think firing Brent Venables right now or at the end of the season, that's the right move. Don't string it along. There's no need to. Stringing this relationship along is just going to make it worse in the long run. Because what you don't want to happen is, let's say you finish the year 7-5, 6-6, and that's best case in scenario. Next year, you go 8-4. The year after that, 9-3, then 8-4, and it's just a continuous, endless cycle. You know what? I'm going to end the video off with a question, and I think this is a juicy one. Do you think if Lincoln Riley never left Oklahoma and he was still there, they'd be 5-5? Let me know your thoughts. Just something to think about. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But right,